Hey, welcome to Rockoli, YouTube's best channel for record collectors. This week, I hope you want to rock, because we're talking Twisted Sister's Stay Hungry, the ultimate pressing. Stay tuned.
Get ready for Rockoli, bringing music to you. Rockoli, rock and roll, metal and country too. Get ready for the record of the week. Get ready for Rockoli.
Alright, so if you're new to the channel, I like to compare pressings. At least 2 or more copies of a specific album, different pressings, variants, and compare them and give you my opinion on what I believe to be the best ultimate pressing of that album. The intent is to, 1, save you money, 2, kind of open your eyes to not all pressings are created equal. The source you have for your stereo, in our case vinyl, your stereo can only sound as good as the source. And there's all sorts of information out there on what people believe to be the best, and what I've found is that it really just depends on the album. But good hard fast rules: first edition Origin Country usually sounds pretty good. A lot of people like Japanese pressings. They love the quality of the packaging, the quiet vinyl that's used. Very, very popular and highly sought after by American collectors. Although I'll get into why some people don't like them. And then you have your audiophile pressings, so labels like Mobile Fidelity, Analog Productions, Intervention Records. They usually obtain the master tapes and do a reissue from the original tapes and do deluxe packaging, things like that. But they're not always the best. The audiophile reissues normally are out of this world, and if you haven't given them a chance because of the high price tag, when those labels have redone a album that you love, I highly recommend trying it out. However, they can miss the mark. Mobile Fidelity recently reissued this album, so I'm going to go through some of the copies I have and compare them to that and let you know which one I think is worth picking up. Alright, so first up, I have the Atlantic Records first edition, first US press. This is a promo copy, so it has the gold foil stamp on the back cover, and it also has this Atlantic Records kind of sticker on the front, indicating that it's a promo copy. And these promo copies, they were sent out to DJs for promotional use to promote the album. These are very sought after because a lot of the times these promo copies were the first out of the pressing plant. A lot of audiophiles believe that those first copies, you're going to get the best sound because the stamper was fresh and it's able to stamp those grooves in exactly as they were intended. And as that stamper keeps producing records, it slowly wears out before they change it and put in a new stamper. So anyway, first edition US press promo copy. It's not good. Everything's kind of muddied together across the board. There's no separation between the instruments. Dee Snider's vocals sound very nasally. Not that he doesn't have a nasal quality to his voice at all, but for whatever decisions they made on this, just really enhanced that nasal sound. Just not good. The bass is really been cut off on this pressing, and what is there is again very muddy. I don't understand. Maybe it's just Atlantic Records not giving this much attention. Not that this is the best recording ever produced. Even the choruses should be this nice wall of sound, and it's just not there. I would say if you're searching for a nice copy of this album, I would stay away from the first edition US pressing. Not good. Up next, I have the Rhino Records reissue of this album. They do this, what they call their Rocktober series, and kind of reissue classic rock, hard rock, metal albums. This album, they did a really good job. This is levels above that US pressing. The clarity of the instruments, vocals, very well done. I suspect it's a digital source. They probably took the master tape and converted it to a digital file and then cut the record from that. But they did a good job. They cleared up the bass a little bit, added more bass, and it sounds good. A little bit more separation on the instruments and vocals, but and there's a bit of surface noise on this, which tends to come with colored vinyl, but it looks beautiful. It's a nice marbled pink and black vinyl, very cool. Also comes with a huge poster. The image quality on the poster is not ultra clear, but it's really nice touch that they included that with the packaging. The cover image, again, still kind of a little blurry on the jacket in comparison to the US pressing, but overall it's really well done. However, this copy is getting hard to find, and it's kind of gone up when I've looked for it. But if you could find this relatively cheap, it's definitely worth picking up. It sounds really good, but I think the next two copies I have are much better. So this is a Japanese first edition, and it has the very nice jacket. The printing on this jacket is the best I've ever seen. This image of Dee Snider. It's super clear, so if you are looking for a version to just hang on your wall or something like that, this is going to give you the crisp, clean image. Like, this has to be from the negative. It looks really good. Superb printing. The vinyl itself, ultra quiet, super quiet. The Japanese pressings tend to get knocked for having boosted highs and the low end just cut off. On this one, the low end in comparison to the US pressing is actually, there's more low end on this Japanese pressing than that US pressing. It's also less muddy all around. The vocals are that boosting the high end just really bring out Dee Snider's vocals. Gets great separation from the instruments and really like hits you, and creates this nice presence, which is what I want when I listen to this album. I really want those vocals to come out and hit hard and have this power behind them. And so the highs can get just a bit shrill on this pressing, but the way that they've done this, it really kind of accentuates and is pleasant when you put it together with the other parts. So the soundstage is just nice and wide, and this has been my go-to version of this album. I really like the sound of this one, and it's usually you can find this for around $20-$30. It's still a really good deal if you can find one that's already in the US. Then you don't have to pay the high shipping cost from Japan. I highly recommend this copy, but Mobile Fidelity takes this great sound that they've got here and just turns it up a notch. Limited to 3,000 copies. It's gotten the full Mobile Fidelity treatment. You get a super thick gatefold jacket. The printing isn't as crisp and nice as the Japanese pressing, but it's still very, very good. The vinyl itself is even quieter than the Japanese pressing, and the tone on Dee Snider's vocals are just glorious on this. They have this like shimmer when he sings, and power, and they've really dialed in and focused in on the better tonal qualities of his voice, versus that Atlantic pressing that accentuated the nasal quality. They did the exact opposite here, and man, it's like hearing this album for the first time. I kind of had low expectations for this, just because I felt like my Japanese pressing was so good, but this is, you just have to hear it. If you like this album, or if you haven't heard this album in a while, don't have a clean copy, I highly recommend picking this up while you still can. Like I said, only 3,000 copies. I doubt that they'll ever press this one again. It's funny, I'm on the Mobile Fidelity Facebook group, and this is just such an odd title for Mobile Fidelity to do that it was getting all kinds of hate, because it doesn't fit into the standard, what I would call classic rock, audiophile kind of titles. Again, because this recording is definitely not the most fidelity-filled recording that you're going to find, but they got the master tape for this, and they squeezed out just about every ounce of fidelity they could get, and I'm very, very impressed. Very, very good. I would say the track that really stuck out to me was the price, and it's the ballad off here, and there's lots of quiet parts, but the vocals and the guitar just really showcase Mobile Fidelity's capabilities in doing these reissues. You just have to hear it. Phenomenal, and I'd say get it while you still can. Well, that's it for this week, guys. As you can see, I've kind of changed up the format of the show. Instead of doing multiple segments, I'm going to kind of focus in on one segment at a time per episode, see how that goes. See if you guys like that better. Love to hear your thoughts, suggestions, questions. Keep them coming. Hope you guys are staying safe, and you just had a healthy dose of Rockoli. I'll see you next time.